on Saturday. The Saskatchewan Roughriders are in BC, where the Lions are 10-point favorites, and that's where we go now, to the West Coast, and welcome in Matt Baker to the program. Bakes, I saw you in Toronto when the Lions were here to take on the Argos, and I want to say, when you're on the road like that, how much freedom do you have to explore the city, go out and grab a meal on your own, or are you just in and out on a business trip?
A little bit of both. Dupes, first off, great to be here. Yeah, and it was great to see you a couple of weeks ago. To answer your question, well, if you're talking about that trip in particular, we stayed at a pretty nice hotel, the Hotel X, about a 10-minute walk to BMO Field. So there's a couple cool amenities there to sample. There was a nice rooftop pool. Didn't go swimming, didn't pack the trunk, sadly. But usually game day is a chance to either sleep in and explore for those of us not doing actual football. So I actually took a nice walk along the lakeshore there, went all the way to the Rogers Center. Skydome, as I still call it. But you know how, keeping it old school. But so it's about a 75-minute walk round trip. So you get some morning steps in, and I've got my spots. Victoria's Tavern in Regina, for those watching and listening. One of my favorite road spots. So you know. It helps when you can walk back to the hotel in like 30 seconds too. So, yeah,
it's not a 75-minute round trip anywhere on feet in Regina.
So this is a great country, as we all know, and I take pride in being able to travel the country, and part of that is just trying to take in as much as I can. We unfortunately don't go to Ottawa this year, but the little walk up to Parliament Hill and back, probably the best walk as far as the CFL circuit goes. So, I try to get out and explore as much as I can. And once the ball's kicked off, that's really when the real work begins.
I love it. I love that. You're at home this week, welcoming the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Tell me about Watermelon Smash and all the fun that's going to happen this weekend.
Yeah, so this is a concept that we were planning pretty much right when the schedule was released around Christmas time. As everyone knows, the Saskatchewan Roughriders are known for having a good fan base, a traveling fan base, and really a lot of the changes you've seen here with our team is the game day experience, making each game its unique event outside of the game. So the Watermelon Smash, for those coming or making the trip out, it's all going to get going at 11 o'clock a.m., so 5 hours before kickoff. We're going to have a separate tailgate for Rider fans, a Lions tailgate, as always, at our backyard party is what we call it, outside at Terry Fox Plaza. So there's going to be $5 Molson's, $5 watermelon seltzers, keeping the theme going. So, and there's going to be some contests. There's going to be a watermelon eating contest as part of this. So, dupes, if you know anyone, any Rider fans that can smash a watermelon in record time, make sure that they do this. So, yeah, the watermelon theme, we're kind of going all in on it, and which I think is a good thing. It's gotten people talking. So, yeah, and that's kind of the unique part of this one is we're going to have a dedicated tailgate party for anyone showing up in green. So I'm looking forward to this. Talking about the game day stuff at home, it's a little more crazy, dealing with stuff inside. But I'm going to do my best to poke outside for a few minutes and see what's going on. We're excited about this one. It's going to be a solid event.
Yeah, you got to do it. Upper Deck is open. It's going to be a great game. Look, when I hear Watermelon Smash, all I can think about is that video. I don't know if you remember. I think it was The Amazing Race when they were slingshotting the watermelon and it got caught in the slingshot and it came right back and smoked the contestant in the face. I hope there's none of that going on. Just have some good old-fashioned fun.
Yeah, you never know. It could be a few surprises. You never know.
I'm looking forward to that. Look, this has been a great year already for the Lions, not just off the field, but on the field. And I want to get from your perspective that transition, which seems to be seamless, from Nathan Rourke to Vernon Adams Jr. They're not the same player. They have different skill sets. I get it at times. They're different people. But it just seems like the organization has handled this so well, both in the locker room and on the field. How have they been able to do that? And what have you kind of observed from your spot?
Well, from my perch, all I can say, Vernon Adams Jr. himself deserves the most credit. As everyone knows, he was acquired mid-season. Not easy circumstances, stepping in for a kid who was literally on pace to break Doug Flutie's 35, 40-year-old records. More like 32, 1991. But anyway, math isn't my strong suit, as you can see. But what I took, this is a guy that came in and he immediately had the ear of the locker room. He embraced his situation. His teammates bought in. And this is a story I've told a few times on our own podcasts and our own radio shows. This team last year in Toronto as well lost a tough game. Sean White missed a game-tying field goal toward the end that would have forced overtime, and a rare miss for him. And the first guy to come console him, he basically did a beeline from the other end of the sideline to the bench, was Vernon Adams Jr. And I kind of looked at that moment and said, okay, yeah, this guy, he's only been here at this point for, I think, 4 or 5 weeks, but this is a guy who has bought in, understood his role, and his teammates have reciprocated that to him. And going to do another plug for our Arrow Up off-season documentary content. Vernon hosted the receivers and the defensive backs in his hometown where he lives, Tacoma, Washington, about a 3-hour drive south of here. Put them up, fed them. They did on-field work. They did film study. I'd never heard of anything like that happening before. I'm sure it's happened, but I don't recall our league, a quarterback taking the initiative before training camp. So, and I think that's translated into the early success. They're averaging upwards of 400 net yards per game. Vernon himself is on pace for over 5,000 yards. I know it's boring just to throw out the stats because that's only part of the story. And I think you're seeing the benefit of holding that off-season OTA, if you will. So everyone's bought in, and you've heard Rick Campbell mention the word continuity, perhaps too much, but it's not too much because I think you're seeing offense, defense, special teams. There's a core of players here who have been here now 2-3 years, and they built the team a certain way coming out of the stoppage going into 2021, a little young, and they were willing to sacrifice a little bit of short-term pain, missing the playoffs, going 5-9. But now that this group has grown together, you're seeing the dividends being paid, and Vernon is a big part of that.
Well, he is. There's no doubt about it. And so really love this story in the CFL for sure is Vernon Adams. Who is a guy, I want to ask you about this too, who's somebody who's not getting enough pub right now on the BC Lions?
I'll go to the defensive line. Look at a guy like Josh Banks. Josh Banks and Woody Barron, I'll give you two in the interior. These guys, what they're doing may not show up on the stat sheet. Like, I think Banks might have credit for 1 tackle. I know the stats talk is another story for another day, but we'll leave that. But, these guys are plugging running lanes, and they're absorbing, some guys absorb the double teams, and it allows guys like Matthew Betts, who's on pace to do some pretty special things as far as sack totals. So I'd say those guys plugging in the middle of the defensive line, again, doesn't necessarily show in live game action, but I guarantee you when these guys are watching film and doing their study and doing their grading, those guys in the interior of the defensive line are earning plenty of kudos from the coaching staff. So, and that's important. I mean, it's, it's to use another cliche, the trenches are important, and really both sides, the offensive line's doing an outstanding job. It's been beneficial having the same 5 guys in there starting and healthy all season long so far. So yeah, those guys in the interior of the defensive line, I'd say probably deserve a bit more love.
Yeah. Jen writes in on YouTube and says, watermelon smash. Vodka-filled watermelons? Yeah, maybe in the tailgate. I'm not sure. But that's
$5 seltzers, Jen. $5 seltzers.
You got to love it. And they've looked up the watermelon fail on YouTube. So that's interesting. They're laughing at that. And Wayne says, I've always liked Vernon Adams Jr. He's a team guy and a talented quarterback. So on that note, yeah, we'll say thank you. Enjoy Watermelon Smash. I hope it's a great weekend. And there you go.
Got Jason Claremont. Got to get some rider connection in here somewhere. There's Claremont. I know Wally traded him maybe a couple years too early to Regina, but you guys benefited from it. So there you go.
We benefited after a great career in BC. Bakes, good to see you, buddy. Enjoy the weekend.
Hey, anytime. Yep. Look forward to it.